Bruce, good to see you again, and obviously it's a big weekend for you at Ayrshire Bulls, who are top of the table, who are putting a lot of points on a lot of teams. They put 40 on Boroughmuir, I think put 60 the other day on Stirling County, so an awesome task. But of course the statement came out from the SRU to say that this is going to be a double header now at Millbrae. Why isn't it at the Greenyards?
That's a good question, Stuart. Yeah, we obviously, it'll be 3 weeks ago now, game was postponed due to the fall-through fixture with the Ayrshire Warriors and Glasgow Warriors. So, yeah, the Ayrshire Bulls ended up going up to Inverness and we postponed our match. So, yeah, I mean, we felt that the game should have been rescheduled, and if it was a double header, to be here at the Greenyards. However, ultimately we do what we're told. That's the decision that's been made. Both clubs have now agreed for it to be a double header across at Millbrae, which is disappointing. However, it means one less game for us. Given our injuries, that's maybe not a bad thing. But also, you know, it puts a little more focus on this weekend's game. It makes it a lot more exciting. You know, if we can go across there and get a result, which, you know, you never know, anything can happen. You know, we're right back in there for probably that fourth spot in the championship.
That's fair enough, but Southern Knights fans, and I spoke to two of them before I came out to see you, they're actually quite livid about the fact that the statement says that both teams have agreed. Now, from what you're saying, you know, that was kind of a bit of arm twisting, wasn't it?
Well, I don't want to really get drawn into anything there, but you know, it's come down from Scottish Rugby that this is what's happening. So for me and for the players, it's decisions made, and we get on with it and go across to Millbrae on Saturday.
Okay, so let's talk about the team then. And in recent times, we've seen a lot of new faces coming in. Obviously, we've seen the history of this season as far as injuries are concerned, and you've had quite a few of them, a few long-term as well. It's been really difficult to get a team on the pitch, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been challenging, to say the least. You know, we came out the sprint having picked up quite a few injuries, recruited some players in. Again, some more long-term injuries again, and these injuries, because it's a relatively short season, we've got 10 games. You know, if a guy misses 4 or 5 games, you know, that's half the season done for these guys who have maybe picked up these injuries in the last couple of weeks. So, and you look at the guys who are injured. You know, Harry Borthwick, you know, one of our leading players, Daniel Sudden. You know, these are guys that are really hard to replace. You know, at this time and stage of the season, recruitment's really tough. You know, everybody's up and running with their own competitions, whether that's up here or south of the border. But again, it does give opportunities to other players. You look at Rudy Brown came back last week after his under-20s layoff. Harry Morris will make his season debut effectively for the Knights. And, you know, Sam Derrick continues to get game time in the back row as well. So you look at that, just the back row, you know, all these guys are young fellas.
And you mentioned that. I mean, it's absolutely true. And in a way, in the spirit of Super 6, Southern Knights are playing absolutely to the rules. A lot of youngsters coming through, which is, you know, what you've always told me is the whole idea of Super 6 is to develop young players. Some of the clubs you can't really say that for.
No, you can't. Again, we kind of have to look after ourselves, and we stay true to the directive from Scottish Rugby is, you know, the Super 6 is there to develop not just coaches and management, but also players, primarily probably for the professional game. Now, you can only do that if you're playing these players. We'll go across to Ayrshire Bulls this week with 12 of our squad of 23 are under 21 years of age. You know, we've got 5 or 6 Stage 3 players, 2 or 3 Stage 2 players involved in the relative academies, and you know, other guys like Ben Piggles and Kieran Clark, you know, who are, you know, they're homegrown talent who will get an opportunity. And yeah, we're under no illusions it's going to be difficult for us at Bulls, but this is where we lie. This is what we want to do. We want to give these guys opportunities, because ultimately if they end up in an environment with Edinburgh this season or next season, or going in an under-20s competition, Six Nations, and they're going to be up against it as well, against some big bruising teams. So it'll be no different Saturday. So this is opportunity they get, and these guys will work hard and they'll do a good job.
So how does it make you feel then, knowing that it's obviously you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is build talent, get youngsters into the squad, and now it seems to me, certainly when it first started at Super 6, it was very close, it was very competitive. I mean, usually a score every game made it really exciting. But now there seems to be this kind of divide with Watsonians and Ayrshire Bulls very much at the top, you and Stirling County at the bottom. In the middle, you've got Boroughmuir and Heriots. But it seems to be a very squint league now.
Well, yeah, I mean, the evidence speaks for itself. You look at the number of young players playing for the franchises week in, week out. and you could get pretty bitter and twisted about things, but ultimately that's a directive from Scottish Rugby. We have to look after our own. I'm quite comfortable in my own skin that, where you look at the number of guys that are playing for Southern Knights regular at the moment that are going into age group rugby, and hopefully 2, 3, 4 years time, the idea is these guys going to represent their country. So that's our big focus, and we feel that we're putting these sort of programmes and plans and game time for these players in place so they can develop.
So is Super 6 still on course as far as you're concerned? Because we're coming up to the 5-year franchise. There could be changes, of course. At the moment, there's no promotion or relegation in this league as well, which some people don't like. They like to see a little bit of competitive spirit there. At the moment, okay, you're down towards the bottom end with Stirling County, but you'll still be there next year.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to what we're talking about, what is success for each franchise. Is success being the top of Super 6? Ultimately, what does that mean? Or does it mean, okay, you maybe take the hit, you're maybe not successful in terms of results, but you're developing the next generation of players, which, again, that's a directive from Scottish Rugby. That's something that, we've been saying quite a lot about as a Southern Knights franchise, that this is a stepping stone into that pro environment. So, yeah, again, it can be frustrating. A lot of people will just look at results. But again, you look at the last 2 games, they're games that we possibly should have won. Up at Boroughmuir, scored 28 points in that second half. Heriots last Friday, we played well. But
good tries, weren't they, from Rudy?
Well, Rudy's just back into things and he's doing really well, and he's after his layoff. But yeah, these guys, with having such a young squad, they're going to make mistakes, they're going to make errors. Their learning's quite steep. They're being challenged each week, as well as, as we said, with injuries in the back of that, trying to get any continuity and consistency from one week to the next is really difficult. But again, that's a challenge for me, Lewis and Ross and Alan Tate as well. But it's something that the players are stepping up to. They don't do a lot of whine and complain about things. They get on with it, because I think they understand what the long ball is. And moving forward with the Super 6, it needs to be there. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but for me, as a stepping stone for these young players, getting them good game time at a decent level to jump into the Edinburgh Glasgow outfit, it's paramount that it's there.
Now, you mentioned Alan Tate there, and he's looking after the defensive side of things, and that certainly, I think that the game after he arrived, there was a big improvement, it seemed, in the defence. And in fact, to be fair, all season, you've had a pretty good defensive display. Yeah,
I mean, the guys adopt quite a steely approach, as a Borders outfit, expect that, it's kind of what we're trying to pride ourselves on. But, with Alan coming in, it's a lot of the messages are the same, but just maybe a different angle. He's well respected, and he's pretty black and white, which again, it's a good thing for the youngsters to hear. They get told if they make mistakes, and hopefully they learn from it, which most cases they do. But yeah, just an extra pair of hands, an extra voice, and viewing these games and helping out training, it's been really important for us, and again, a great thing for the players.
So just finally, this is the big game at Millbrae, double-header at Ayrshire Bulls, who are scoring tries for fun, etc. You're obviously going to be picking a team as best as you can to compete, but how do you actually go to Millbrae these days and be competitive?
Well, again, we have to focus on ourselves. Week in, week out, we will do a lot of analysis on other teams, and try and really identify some opportunities for their weaknesses that they have in their game, and try and address the strengths to nullify that. But we know the Bulls are strong. They've got a mature pack, an older profile squad. It's going to be tough up there. But again, with our young squad that we've got, we have to try and win our set piece. Get parity there is really important. Try and get tempo into our game, and hope a few things go our way. Because we know we've got a squad there that can hurt teams, that can go up there and hurt Bulls. But ultimately, the guys, they're going to find it tough. But we'll go up there, we'll throw everything at it, and see where we get to.
And the pressure's off in a way, isn't it? Because, I mean, on paper, this should be a very comfortable Bulls win. But from your perspective, you've got young youngsters in the team, sort of go out and, do your best.
Yeah, it's sport's a funny thing, isn't it? I mean, countless games in lots of different sports where the top dog's not won. So we hope it's going to be our day this Saturday. There's no reason why it can't be. We're confident in what we're doing, and the players we've got there to go up there and give them a glyph.
Well, we wish you well on Saturday, and thanks for your honesty. Cheers.
Thank you, Stuart.